Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'm going to invite you all to take your seats and open up your Sidurim. Before an official welcome, we're going to start with singing together. Page 192, these words spoken, how wonderful are your tents, these dwelling places, O Israel, O Jacob. Let us all feel safe and assured as we enter your doors. Let's all try that. Like two lovely breaths. Breathing in again. Last time.
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It is so beautiful to be here with everyone this morning. It is, in these times that we live in, every chance that we have to celebrate something, we are going to take that moment and we are going to celebrate the patootie out of it. I don't know. That's what I would say in front of my kids. I don't know what's appropriate to say right now. But we are going to really celebrate today. We are going to really celebrate because there are two reasons. The first is because it's Shabbat. And this is what we do on Shabbat. We come into sacred space and we breathe together and we sing together and we acknowledge that this day is a perfect day because it is here and we are here together. The second reason we're here to celebrate, how you doing? Good. Is because we are celebrating the bar mitzvah of Grant Katai. He has been working so hard, and not just for the last couple months, but really his whole life up until this moment has been spent partially in preparation for becoming a bar mitzvah, which means becoming an adult in the eyes of the Jewish community. Now, Grant, this doesn't mean you can drive a car, doesn't mean you can vote yet, doesn't mean, you're ready to go off on your own. But what it does mean is that in our community, in the context of Judaism, you are on the road. You are on the path towards adulthood, and who you are going to show us you are today is a glimpse into the man that you are becoming. And this is the second reason we are here to celebrate today, to celebrate with Grant and his family as he becomes a bar mitzvah. So a couple notes about our book. Does everybody have one of these? The Mishkan Tafila prayer book? Yeah? Anyone still need one? Don't be shy. We can get you one. No? You're good. Fantastic. So in this book, it goes in the Hebrew direction, which means that what seems like the back is actually the front, and what seems like the front is actually the back. And then as you open nearly every page, what you have is a, opening to a random page here, you have the Hebrew. If that looks unfamiliar to you, if you've never spoken Hebrew before, you can look here to this part where you have the transliteration, which means that you can read Hebrew like a pro, even if you've never seen it before, as long as you know how to read English. Then under that, you have a fairly faithful literal translation. Then on the left side of the page, this is where it gets fun. That's where you have poetry and interpretive readings. We will give you page numbers as we go. We're going to give both the page numbers for those of you who are here in person and the online numbers for those who are following along online. We know you have a crew online as well. But if you get lost, if you find yourself on a different page than the page that we are on, that's fine. Take a moment, take a breath, and take a look at the page that you're on. Because as we often say, perhaps that's where you're meant to be. Maybe you'll find something there that feeds your soul in a way that the page you're supposed to be on wasn't going to do. And then when you hear the next number, you'll catch up with us. So no stress. I think we are ready to let Grant take the lead here. So let's turn together to page 198. In the prayer book, it is page 80 if you are with us online. These are our blessings for every day, the regular miracles of daily life that we don't often remember to take the time to be grateful for. We have these blessings here, and after Grant reads each one, we'll join together in saying Amen, which means I agree.
And amen, loudly and proudly. Let's fill this room with voice and energy. Oh, got a little. It's okay, I get my seats.
I always get really excited when the bar mitzvah is not as tall as me. So now you've kind of negated that, Grant. Thanks. Here you go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan l'savivina lehavhin beinom uvein laila, who has given the mind to ability to distinguish day from night.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach Ephraim, who opens the eyes of the blind.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim, who frees the captive.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kafufim, who lifts up the fallen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rokah haaretz al hamayim, who stretches the earth over the waters.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamahin mitzad degaver, who strengthens our steps.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim, who clothes the naked.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten le'yaif koah, who gives strength to the weary.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavir shana me'enai utunu mama afapai, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tzelem Elohim, who made me in the image of God.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani ben horin, who has made me free.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Israel, who has made me a Jew.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Israel bigvura, who girds Israel with strength.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Israel b'tifara, who crowns Israel with splendor.
Amen.
You get to go relax for a minute. Let's continue with Psalm 150 on page 218. Our prayer of joy. Go ahead.
I think you're going to know this one. So no excuse not to sing it. Hallelujah, el bekocho. Hallelujah, birki auzo. Hallelujah, bikvorota. Hallelujah, kerov ludo. Hallelujah, beteka shofar. Hallelujah, benevel bechinor. Let's hear it. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, betof mahol. Hallelujah, beminim
continue on page 224 or 106.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא יברך חינותי וימליך מלכותי, בחי יכול ויומכון וחי לכל בית ישראל, בגאלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו, אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעד מי עלמיה, יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתהלף ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל מרחתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירון בעלמא ויאמרו אמן.
Let's stand together, page 226 for the Baruchu, our call to worship, the official beginning of our prayer.
Let's all try that. Let's try that together. Everyone, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai.
Continue on the next page.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uforei choshech oseh shalom uvorei et hakol.
Ha'me'ir la'aretz v'ladarim aleha barachamim. Uvtuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reishit. Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'chochma asita. Mal'ah ha'aretz kinyanecha. Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu al shevach ma'aseh yadecha ve'al me'ori or she'asita yifa'arucha selah.
אור חדש על ציון תאיר ונזכחו לנו מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות.
Page 230 or 112 in the English in the middle of the page.
How deeply you have loved us, Adonai, our God, gracing us with surpassing compassion, on account of our forebears whose trust led you to teach them the laws of life. Be gracious to us, teaching us well. O merciful one, have mercy on us by making us able to understand, to discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill in that is in your Torah. Enlighten our eyes with your Torah, focus our minds on your mitzvot, unite our hearts in love and reverence for your name, then we will never feel shame, never deserve rebuke, and never stumble. Having trusted in your great and awesome holiness, we shall celebrate your salvation with joy.
Let's join together with Grant.
Gather us in peace from the four corners of the earth, and lead us upright to our land. For you, O God, work wonders. You chose us. Truly, you drew us near your great name, that we might acknowledge you, declaring you one in love. Praise be you, Adonai, who chooses your people in Israel in love.
Baruch atah Adonai, habocher b'mo Yisrael pe'ahava.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
You may be seated.
Ve'avta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher Anohi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha ve'shinatam levanecha ve'dibarta bam be'shivtecha bevetecha uvlechtecha vardere ushochbecha uvkumecha ugshartam leot al yadecha ve'hayu lo totafot b'neinecha Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tiskeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai vihitem kedoshim lelehem ani Adonai Elohem asher otzetiatem meretz Mitzrayim Ayot lahem lelahim, ani Adonai Elohem, Adonai Elohem, Emet.
Let's read responsively with Grant on page 239 or 121.
The eternal truth is that you alone are God and there is none else.
May the righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and exult in your justice.
Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks.
Let nation not lift up sword against nation, nor learn war any more.
You shall not hate your brother or sister in your heart.
The stranger that sojourns with you shall be accepted as your equal, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt.
Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor? Asked God.
We know that the Eternal One defends the poor and upholds the rights of the needy.
Praise to God Most High.
Blessed is God and deserving of blessing. And Grant is going to stay up here and help lead Micha Mocha, which is the Song of the Sea from the book of Exodus, which is our first national anthem as a Jewish people, but also of freedom over slavery and oppression. And this is a very, very happy song, so we want you to all join in. Yai, lai, lai, la, lai, 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 and then Grant gives two claps. Ya, lai, 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 ya, lai, 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 ya, lai, 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 lai. Let's join in that nigun. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Ya, lai, 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 ya, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 ya, lai, 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 lai. Micha mocha ba'elim Adonai, clapping double time. Here we go. Micha mocha ba'elim Adonai, Micha mocha nehedar ba'kodesh, lo chatehi lo tosef ele, lo chatehi lo tosef ele. One more time. Lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 lai. Ya, lai, 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 ya, lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 lai. Sun Israel, kuma be'ezrat Israel, ufeneichenu mecha Yehuda ve'Israel, go'aleinu Adonai tzvaot shemo, Kedosh Israel, Baruch Atah Adonai, Gal Israel.
We turn now to the Amidah, which is, Grant just took a nice deep breath. Let's all do that with him. Whew, feels good, doesn't it? So this is the central prayer of our service, sometimes called the standing prayer. And in a moment, I'll ask you to stand as well. We begin by asking God to open up our lips. This means that we're really searching inward for the prayers, for the thoughts, for the feelings, the emotions that we're looking for. And Shabbat gives us the space and the time to reflect on what's happening in here. How often do we have time to just think? So we offer you this moment, this gift of time and space to sing and to think and to pray. Page 242 or 124. Let's stand together as Grant leads us.
Adonai sefatav tifta ufia gita Kehilah tehad Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rahel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagador Hanipor ve'Hanorah El Elyon Gomel Hasadim Tovim Ve'Konei Hakol Ve'Zoher Hasdeyavot Ve'imaot Umeve Geula Livnei V'neihem Leman Shemo B'Ahava Mela Ozer Umashia Umagen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'Ezrat Sarah Atagi por le'olam Adonai Mehaye hakol atav rav le'oshia Mashiv harua umorid hagashem Mechayel hayim behesed Mehaye hakol barahamim rabim Somech noflim vezofeh holim Umatir asurim Umekayem unato Lishenei afar Mihamo haba'al gevurot Umidoch melach Melech memit umehayeh Umatzmiah Yeshua V'ne'eman atah lehayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai mehayeh hakol.
We continue on page 248 with the Kedoshah. Nekadesh et shimcha ba'olam Keshem shemakdishim oto b'shmei marom Kakatuv al yad neviyecha V'kachazel ze ve'amar Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzvaot, Meloch ol haaretz kevodo. Adir adirenu Adonai, Adonenu, Ma'adir shimcha bechol haaretz. Baruch kevod Adonai mimekomo. Echad hu Eloheinu hu Avinu hu Malkeinu hu Moshienu. Vehu yashmiru berachamav. Leinei kol achai. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Yimloch Adonai leolam. Elohai Zion. Ledor vador. Hallelujah. לדור ודור נגיד כל לך ולנצח נצח עם קדושתך נקדיש ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Let's be seated. And let's turn to page 253 or 135 and read together at the top of the page. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Let's take this time now, let's take this moment for silent prayers and personal reflections. And we'll join back together in just a few moments on page 258 or 140.
Page 258, we join together in a prayer for peace, asking God to bestow, grant peace, goodness, and blessing, grace, kindness, and mercy to us and to all those who are in need. And it goes like this. Sim shalom, tova ubracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yisrael amecha. Sim shalom, tova ubracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol Yisrael amecha, ve'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael, bechol עת ובכל שעה, בשלומך שים שלום, טובה וברכה, חן וחסד ורחמים ורחמים עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל ישראל עמך. ברוך אתה אדוני, המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום. Amen. That is a perfect D note, my young friend. Beautiful. Sing along the whole time.
Whole time. I don't. Grant's not. We're going to be fine. Oh, my goodness. We welcome the joyful noise. Please don't worry. We are going to continue with Seder Kriyat HaTorah, our Torah service. And in just a moment, we'll take the Torah out of the ark, and Grant is going to share with us a bit about Parshat Tetzaveh. He is going to read from the Torah, chant. No easy thing to do, by the way. Did you know the Torah doesn't even have vowels? It's just consonants, and you have to remember what the vowels are and how to sing it. He's been working really hard. So Grant is going to share with us the chanting of his Torah portion, and then in a little bit after that, teach us a little bit about what his Torah portion has meant to him. But before we do that, we are going to acknowledge the importance of this moment. That without people like Grant, people like Paige who become bar and bat mitzvah, we don't have a vision of what study of Torah and Jewish learning and Jewish living looks like a generation from now. That what we do in the process of becoming bar and bat mitzvah is we are passing Torah down from parents to children. And we have to remember that we don't do this simply in this vacuum of this space right now, but we have to imagine all of the generations that came before who had to pass Torah hand to hand in order for it to be received by Grant's hands today. And so too do we imagine all of the generations yet to come, the people that Grant are going to teach Torah to, whether it's his children or people that he knows, that Torah will continue to be learned and taught so long as we continue teaching our children. And so we'll see that play out before us as we invite parents and a grandparent to physically pass the Torah from hand to hand, and then Grant will have the Torah in his hands. Cantor, have we been doing the processional, or are we just doing a wave?
We've been doing the processional.
We've been doing the processional. So then Grant will have the chance to bring the Torah through the congregation. Typically, we would kiss and touch, but COVID, we don't do that anymore. So you can blow a kiss to the Torah, or give a wave, or say a mazel tov to Grant as he makes his way around the synagogue. So with that, let's turn to our Torah service, page 362. And to open the ark, we're going to invite Jim and Kate Gasper to join us. And we are all going to stand together, page 362.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai, ve'en kema'asecha, malechutecha malchut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach,
All the way to that doorstep.
Adonai himloch leolam va'ed, Adonai oz le'amo yiteh, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom, Haftarah chamim.
Joan and Carrie and Daniel, please join me. And Joan, too, please.
Et Zion tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, ki v'echad levad patachnu, melech el ram v'nisa adon olamim, ki mitzion teitzei Torah, ki mitzion teitzei Torah, u'devar Adonai mirushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Galul Adonai Hiti, Uneromema Shemo Yachtav, Ledor Vador, Nagid kol lecha, ledor vador, we protect this chain from generation to generation. Ledor vador, these lips will praise your name. Lecha Adonai hagedula v'hagevura v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'hahod, ki בשמיים ובארץ, לך אדוני הממלכה, ועמי נעשה לכל לראש. Let's all clap our hands, everyone, and celebrate this wonderful moment. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו לך קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו. And we'd like to invite up Aaron Gunderson and Ella Gunderson to come forward. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Let's keep the clapping going, everybody. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, haolam omen. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, haolam omen. Amen.
Amen. Well, he's not crying anymore, but he doesn't look impressed. So we're going to work on that. So we have come, you can sit for just a quick second. We have come to our Torah service, to our Torah reading, and this is, during this time, is the time when Grant will actually become bar mitzvah. Everything he's done up until this point can be done by any Jewish person who knows how. But I'll tell you when we get to the moments, we can see, if he changes in that moment. I think you've changed already, Grant. I think you've really grown into this moment. In Parshat Tetzaveh, and Grant is going to tell us more about it in a moment, but just a little bit of food for thought. We learn about the priests in the Holy Temple, in the ancient temple. Now, we don't have priests anymore in Judaism. We have rabbis. They sometimes look like me. They sometimes look like men with beards. But what we don't have is high priests. The high priest would facilitate the sacrifice in the Holy Temple. We don't have sacrifice anymore either. We have prayer instead. But one of the things that we learn from this parsha is that the priests, when they were coming to the temple to fulfill their role of holy sacrifice, they would dress in these impressive, beautiful garments with jewels that represented all 12 tribes and a headband that said, Kodesh Ladonai, holy to God. One of my favorite little teachings is, what if we were to, now that we are all considered to be a nation of priests, if we were to all consider one another as if we were Kodesh Ladonai, as if it said holy to God on each of our foreheads. So, when you're stuck in traffic and someone's beeping their horn at you and you want to yell and scream all kinds of things, you remember on their forehead, holy to God. Okay, that person too is holy to God. Or in any of those stressful moments that we encounter when it just feels like humanity is not following directions, we are all created holy to God. So this is just one of the things that the high priest does to get into the mood, to get into the role of his job as the transmitter of sacred function. And so we too, as I look out at this community, I don't see anyone in sweatpants. Each one of us has taken a moment of care to get dressed. Grant, this is the first time I've seen you in a suit. And that's only because I was on quarantine at Paige's bat mitzvah. So I'm assuming you were wearing something similar then. But we don't always dress like this. But when we are doing something special, when we are doing something meaningful, we put it both on the outside so that we feel it even more deeply on the inside. And so, Grant, we make jokes about how, when you have your aliyah, you're going to become an adult. And we may or may not see it right in front of our eyes. But what we do see is the way that you've put on the clothing, you're wearing your talit. You have keep on too? Yeah, right? We did that beforehand, right? You have put on the clothing that helps you to fulfill this role so that you feel it both on the outside and it helps each one of us feel it on the inside. So as we take note of what we've put on today, we think about how it helps us perform the sacred task that we've been asked to do, which is to celebrate, to observe, to be together in community, both on the outside and, of course, on the inside. So, Grant, I think we're ready. You ready? Why don't you come on up? We are going to invite our first aliyah today to Torah. If you are following along in the Plout Chumash, I don't know if we maybe have a couple people here. We are on page 563. Otherwise, I believe it's in your pamphlet. I believe it's written in your pamphlets. You can follow along. And for our first aliyah, to first call to Torah, I believe we have a combo of in-person and virtual. So regardless of whether you're here in the room or here in virtual space, we invite to Torah. Oh, I'm on the wrong page. Peter Katai, Debbie Katai, Greg Katai, and Joan Katai.
Yamod Yochanan.
Beautifully done. Oh, you have?
Tamod Devorah. Yamod Yehudas. Tamod Yehudas. Yamtu Rishon. Kol Hanashim Betelefon. All right, everybody. There's going to be a little delay, but you just go ahead.
Go for it.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'karvanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torto. Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. And the dog is going, Amen, Amen, Amen.
I think
in the
that is the
background.
first time I've ever had a dog participate in Aliyah.
It's a bark mitzvah. I'm just kidding. I had to. Sorry. Thank you, whoever that was. Go.
Amen. Ve'ata tetzaveh et bnei Israel ve'ikuch eleha shemen zayit zaha katit lamaor la'ahalot ner tamid be'ohel moed michutz laparochet asher ahadut Ya'aroch otoch Aharon uvanav ma'erev ad boker livnei Adonai hukat olam ledorotam ma'et bnei Israel.
Go for it.
Amen.
Beautifully done. Hugs and kisses, a chance to say hi to. All right, you all can give hugs and kisses to Grant and step on over to the other side of the bima.
Where are they FaceTiming from?
Oh, Deerfield. Almost my hometown. I'm from Highland Park. All right, you all can step onto Cantor's side. For our second aliyah, we invite Ryan Gaspar and Emily McIntyre, uncle and great aunt. We always call our great aunts our great aunts. The greatest aunt ever, exactly.
Tamod Chana Tirza Bat Hersha V'Tirza Yamod Uvein Matityahu V'Sara Yamtu Sheni
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu michol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Amen. Ve'ata akrev eleha et Aharon ahiha ve'et banav ito mitoch b'nei Israel lehahanoli Aharon nadav v'avihu Elazar itamar b'nei Aharon, ve'asita vigdei kodesh Aharon, ahiha lechavod uletifaret, ve'ata tadaber el chachmei lev asher miletiv ruach chachma, ve'asu et vigdei Aharon lekadesho lehahanole, ve'ele hebegadim asher yasu, hoshen ve'efod ume'il uchtones tashbetz mitznefet ve'avnet, ve'asu vigdei kodesh Aharon ahiha le'aharon lehahanole, vehem yikhu et hazehav ve'et hatehelet ve'et ha'argaman ve'et tola'at hashani ve'et hashesh.
Beautiful.
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu, baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Beautifully done. Hugs and kisses. And then you can step over to the other side. And for our third Aliyah, we invite proud family, Carrie Katai, Daniel Katai, and Paige Katai. I love your talit. It's so beautiful. Let's see
Tamod, Chedva Miriam bat Sarah, Yamod Daniel Ta'amod, Sarah bat Chedva Miriam v'Daniel, Yamdu Shelishi.
Baruchu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Habarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Ve'asu et ha'ephod zahav tehelet ve'argaman tala'at shani, ve'shesh morsar ma'aseh hoshev, shetei hetefot ovrot, yihyelo el shenei ketzotav ve'hubar, ve'heshev afudato asher alav, Kema'asehu mimenu yihye zahav tehelet ve'argaman ve'tola'at shani ve'shesh morsar ve'lekata lechetei avnei shohem ufich tachta elehem shemot b'nei Israel.
Beautiful. Blessing after.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Beautiful. Hugs and kisses.
Thank you so much for being up here.
Now, this is the moment that we spoke about a little while ago. Grant is going to not only read the Torah, but say the blessing before and after the Torah reading. And this is the moment when Grant truly becomes an adult in the eyes of our Jewish tradition.
Yamod, Yamod, Habachur Habar Mitzvah Gilad, Ben Daniel Uchedva Miriam, Chazak, Chazak, Venit Chazek.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Shisha Mishmotam O Ha-Evan Ha-Ehat Ve'et Shabot Ha-Shisha Hanotarim Al Ha-Evan Ha-Shenit Ketoldotam Ma'aseh Harash Evan Pituhe Otam Tefatach Et Shetei Ha'avanim Al Shemot B'nei Israel Musabot Mishpatzot Zahav Taseh Otam Vesamta Et Shetei Ha'avanim O Kitfot Ha'efod Avnei Zikaron Lifnei Israel Venasa Aharon Et Shemotam Lifnei Adonai Al Shetei Ketefav Lezikaron.
Beautiful. All right, blessing. Here, why don't you hold it in front here? There you go.
What's the melody? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam nata betoheinu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
And then we say Yasher Koach. Try that.
Yasher
Koach,
Koach.
which means keep on doing what you're doing, and you're going to go very far. That was beautifully chanted. Hugs and kisses, and then Grant, you can take a break just for a moment, a quick one. At this point in our service, with the Torah in front of us, we draw strength from its teachings as we think of those we know, those we love who are in need of healing. If there's someone you are thinking of who could use a prayer for healing, I invite you to share their names out loud at this time. Page 371.
Misheberach Avotenu v'imotenu Avraham Yitzhak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu yevarech Hu yerapeh et hacholim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei rachamim aleichem lehalimam rapotam lechazikam Vishlach lachem hera refuah shlema bein hashamayim, refuat hanefesh urufat haguf, hashta bagalav izman kariv, venomar amen.
May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, and let us say, Amen. We will now lift and dress the Torah. We are going to all stand, and I invite Kurt Brown and Earl Brown to come and help us with the dressing.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. תורה, 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 ציווה לנו משה. תורה, 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 ציווה לנו משה. תורה ציווה לנו משה. תורה ציווה לנו משה. תורה ציווה לנו משה. תורה ציווה לנו משה. Torah, 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 Ziva lanu Moshe.
Beautifully done. Thank you.
Torah, Torah,
Thank you so much.
Torah,
You all can
Torah,
head down.
Torah,
All
Torah,
seated.
Ziva lanu Moshe.
That was some excellent Torah dressing. I feel like this crowd has had some experience in dressing Torahs before. That was extremely smooth. Well done. Let's continue with the chanting of Haftarah. Cantor, do you want to introduce the Haftarah?
Absolutely. Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Cantor.
So even though it sounds like half Torah, it's not. Haftarah are selections from the books of the prophets that come after the Torah in the Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible, that the rabbis around the destruction of the Second Temple were able to connect to the weekly Torah portions. This means that the Haftarah from Ezekiel chapter 43, verse 10 through 12, that Grant is going to be chanting this morning is going to be connected to Parashat Tetzaveh that he just chanted so beautifully. The melody is going to sound different. That's because the rabbis had to develop a new melody that would fool the Roman authority from thinking that they weren't actually studying Torah when in fact they were. And so we join with Grant in blessing the Haftarah together in a beautiful, haunting kind of melancholy melody. But in actuality, we are celebrating the rabbis taking charge to sustain the religion of Judaism in that very tumultuous time.
Plout Chumash, we will be on page 577.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratza v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai Haboher Batorah Uvmoshe Avdo Uvisrael Amo Uvinvieh Ha'emet Vatzedek. Atach ben Adam Haged et Bet Yisrael et Habayit Ve'yikamu Ma'avanotehem Umadidu et Tochnit Ve'im nichlemu mikol asher asu surat habayit utahunato umotzav umovav ve'kol tzurotav ve'et kol hukotav ve'kol tzurotav ve'kol torotav oda otam uchtov la'eneihem ve'yishmeru et kol tzurotav ve'et kol hukotav ve'osu otam zot Torat habayit al rosh hahar kol gevulo saviv saviv kodesh kodeshim hine zot Torat habayit. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sur kol ha'olamim sadik b'chol hadorot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer ve'oseh hamdaber umkayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al ha'nevi'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh shenatat lanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'limnucha lehavod uletifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim la umvarchim ota yitbarach shimha beficho chai tamid leolam va'ed baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
Amen. I just want to point out that this young man chanted a 2,000-year-old way of chanting perfectly. Did not miss it. He just didn't make that up. He was taught, he breathed, he internalized every single note. So when we say Yashir Koach, a job well done, I mean, it was magnificent. So can we say one more big Yashir Koach? 1, 2, 3. Yashir Koach. Magnificent.
Cantor, was that a special piece there? Because I've never even heard that Haftarah trope before.
Pazer. And that's the only time where it actually happens 3 times in a row.
I heard the pazer in the Torah, but we're just a little Jewish nerding out here just for a minute. So, Grant, you've had the chance to share with us Torah so beautifully, Haftarah, like you've blown our minds, but now we want to hear what you have to say. And I know you've prepared some important words about what this Torah portion and what this whole process has meant to you. So, nice and slow, because we want to understand you, and we really want to hear you. So take a deep breath and share with us what you have to say.
Shabbat Shalom. My Torah portion is called Tetzaveh and is from the book of Exodus. Tetzaveh takes place right after the Israelites escaped slavery in Egypt. They move and settle at the bottom of Mount Sinai outside of Israel. God and the Israelites come up with an agreement where God protects them as long as they abide by God's laws. Moses, their leader, then decides to go at Mount Sinai, where he talks to God about what they need to do. God gives Moses very specific instructions on what to do when building a sanctuary, Amidah, which was part of the agreement. Most of the Torah portion is spent talking about God instructing Moses on how to always keep the light on, what Aaron and his son should wear as priests, and what should be brought to the sanctuary as offerings. The most interesting part of this Torah portion for me was how detailed all of the directions were for what the priests wore. Every detail of their outfits was very specific and well thought out, including the look of the robe, tunic, and headpiece. Rabbis have said that all the effort put into building this tabernacle and all of the specific garments for the priests came with being careful, patient, disciplined, and with hours of artistic skill and work that would not have happened with laziness or neglect. I really connected with this idea of putting in a lot of effort when starting something new because recently I started playing tennis after many years of playing baseball. When I started playing tennis, I was very committed to wanting to learn and get better. For example, on my first lesson, I asked my coach what to do, such as how to swing properly and serve. From there, I took a lot of practice on my own and at my lessons. I have to be very dedicated and disciplined, like in my Torah portion, if I want to keep getting better. Also, preparing for my bar mitzvah was another time that being dedicated and putting in a lot of time and effort to something has paid off. Like Moses and Aaron, hard work and effort and attention to details always pays off in the end. What does becoming a bar mitzvah mean to me? As I have gone through this journey, I feel like I have become more connected to Judaism by reading and studying the Torah. My mitzvah project, which was giving and making Valentine's cards to homebound seniors, is an act of gemilut hasadim, or act of loving kindness, and is something I want to do throughout my whole life. I will also be continuing Jewish traditions, which I have when I have my family of my own one day. I'd like to thank many people. Thank you, Cantor Edinger, for helping me learn all of my prayers along the way. Thank you, Rabbi Mason Barkin, for helping me write my speech and being here today. Thank you to my tutor, Sarah, for helping me with my Torah readings and Haftarah. Thank you to Mora Robin for supporting me and helping me with my Hebrew. Thank you to my mentor, Andrew, for volunteering your time to help me get more comfortable being up here and on the bima and reading from the Torah. Laura and Tammy, thank you for driving me to B'nai Mitzvah Prep. I also want to thank everyone who has traveled out of town to celebrate with me today. We have visitors all the way from Illinois, Massachusetts, Colorado, and Minnesota. Thank you to all my grandparents for always supporting me in so many ways. Thank you to my aunts and uncles for always being there for me. Paige, thank you for being so supportive and helping me design some signs for the party. Mom, I appreciate you for keeping me on track with school, helping me eat healthy, and listen to all my bar mitzvah prayers. Dad, Thank you for supporting me with my math and helping me with all my sporting activities. I really appreciate you guys and everyone else helping me through this journey. Thank you.
So once again, let's try that. Yasher Koah. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. All right, so you're not going to go far because we are going to put the Torah away and then, you've had the chance to say some stuff. Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to talk a little more, and then we're going to invite your parents and some other people to share some special words with you. But first, let's put the Torah away. It doesn't like to be left out too long. So to open the Ark, we would like to invite Trevor Gaspar, Addie Gaspar, Charlotte Gaspar, and I'd also like to invite your parents to come on back up. And let's all stand together.
Hallelujah, Shem Adonai, ki nizgav shemo levado, Koto ha'leretz v'shamayim, vayachem keren leyamo, Kehilah lechol chasidav. Livnei Israel am kerovo, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Eitz chaim hi lama chazikim ha v'tomchecha meushar derachecha. דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיך שלום. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה. חדש חדש ימינו, Kadesh Yameinu Kekedem.
I'm going to ask our Ark openers, thank you for a job well done. You all can head back to your seats. So Grant, you have come quite a long way. And I know that this year has been, quite a journey in many ways. And one thing that you mentioned in your Devar Torah is that one of the transitions that you've made, one of the things that you've done in your growing up in the last little bit is switching sports. That you started off as a baseball player and you were, pretty good. But you found a new passion in tennis. And when we were talking about this yesterday, I was like, but why tennis? What do you like about tennis? Is it, trying to understand what makes tennis feel like a special sport to you. And you said, well, it's not just tennis. It's really, anything with a racket, like pickleball or ping pong. You really like ping pong. Not badminton. The birdie moves too slow. Not a fan. We're not sure about racquetball. And I have a theory as to why. But when I asked you really what you like, is it just you like hitting things? And I think maybe it's something to that it's really satisfying when something is coming towards you and you're able to know, do you have that hand-eye coordination to be able to see that it's coming and be able to get it exactly where you need it to go. And I think that's a satisfying thing about baseball too, right? Right? That the ball comes and you know how to get it. And this is a lot like what happens on this path that we talked about. Now that you're officially on this journey to adulthood, things are going to come flying at you. Homework assignments, big decisions, first jobs, all of these important things are going to come flying at you. It's like when that tennis ball machine is just spitting them out, right? And you're just trying to crack them all. Oh, I was way up high, right? And you want to be the person who feels like they know exactly how to hit the ball, to have that hand-eye coordination no matter what it is that's coming right at you. But here's the thing about being on that journey. on being on that path towards adulthood. Doesn't always go that way. Sometimes the ball comes out of nowhere. Sometimes the ball you think it's coming this way and you hit it that way, but it turns out it goes all the way off into a place you didn't expect it to go. Life is like that sometimes. You think you nailed that homework assignment and then you get a C and you didn't expect it. Now today was one of those days where you hit it out of the park, and we all knew that was going to happen. But part of that is because in your preparation for today, you had that partner on the other side of the court, right? That you we had a little snafu in getting your speech ready, but your mom was right there to help lob the ball right back, right? You had all these crazy chanting patterns, and Cantor was right there with his racket, ready to hit it back to you. And that's why I think maybe racquetball's not your fave, right? There's no one to hit it back. It's just a wall. So as you go on this path, as you go on this journey, all of these things are going to be in your way. And sometimes you're going to get it exactly right. And I know you like it best when you have that coordination and you get it exactly the way you meant it to. And it's super satisfying. But sometimes that's not going to be the way it goes. So I want you to remember that you've always got that person I don't know how tennis works. You want that person on your side, right? Not on the other side of the court. All right, whatever it is, remember that you don't have to hit all those balls alone. Okay, you've got some amazingly supportive parents right here. You've got a big sister who's been with you every step of the way. Look at all these people who love. Turn around just for a second. All these people here who love you, they've all got rackets in their hands too. They're all ready. And then turn back around. I would say we're not you're maybe more sporty than I am, but we're here for you too, and we'll hold the racket anytime you need us to. All right? That you've got a world full of people who are playing this game with you. And part of that is people from school and people from sports. And here at Temple, we are always on the court with you. So as you go on the journey, and the balls are coming from every which way, just remember you don't have to hit them all alone. That your synagogue is here, your community is here. And we offer you this blessing of love and support.
Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and may God keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's face shine on you and always be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'yasem lecha shalom.
May you always feel God's presence within you, and may you always be blessed with peace.
Ve'yasem lecha shalom. Siman tov und mazel tov v'siman tov, siman tov und mazel tov v'siman tov, siman tov und mazel tov v'siman tov, yehelanu. Siman tov und mazel tov v'siman tov, siman tov und mazel tov v'siman tov, siman tov und mazel tov v'siman tov, yehelanu.
You go, yeah. Oh, she'll go first. So we've all had the chance to say something now. Grant, you have the chance to hear from your parents.
Grant, your dad and I are so proud of how well you did today, leading the congregation in prayer this morning. But more than that, we're proud of the wonderful person that you are. When you got your white binder that first day, you started out very apprehensive and worried that you wouldn't be able to learn everything for your bar mitzvah. But you quickly demonstrated that with persistence and practice, you can accomplish anything you put your mind to. We hope you take this life lesson everywhere you go. You have always been incredibly compassionate and caring towards others. You feel things deeply and have always demonstrated empathy towards other people as well as animals. One of my favorite stories is when we were at a spring training baseball game when you were about 7 or 8, and you told me how sad you felt for the food and souvenir vendors who were working so hard, but people weren't buying any items from them. This tiny comment is just one of many that you've made over the years that demonstrates your empathy towards others.
In addition to being compassionate and comparing, you are friendly and personable to others. You have always been willing to step outside of your comfort zone and meet new people. When we ask you if you are nervous to do something new, you almost always say no and jump right into any new situation without hesitation. Most recently, you jumped right into a new sport of tennis without knowing anyone and having quickly met new friends and become comfortable with a new sport. Your willingness to try new things without hesitation will prove to be a valuable skill as you get older. Finally, you are always so incredibly curious and inquisitive. You ask great questions and always want to know the ins and outs of everything. You have a constant desire to learn from others, whether it be about finances, my favorite, sports, or the subjects you're learning in school. Always keep learning.
All of these remarkable qualities will take you far in life. We hope that you continue to be the incredibly empathetic, friendly, and curious individual that you are. Hopefully, you will continue all of the special traditions and core values of Judaism that have been passed on to you by the many generations before you. We love you so much and are so proud of you today and always. I almost made it.
Beautiful, thank you. You made your mom cry. And your mentor, Andrew, has some words to share next. You stay up here, Grant. This is all about you, kiddo.
Grant, I didn't prepare any tennis analogies, but all I can say is, we only got together a few times, and every single time all I had to do was sit back and listen to you, and you did a great job. You sang beautifully, you chanted well. I knew from the beginning that you were going to do a great job, and you definitely did wonderful. I appreciate your family letting me spend this special day with you. This is the book we've been practicing. It's from the synagogue to you, it has your name in it from the rabbis and the cantor. It's yours to keep. You can leave the post-it notes in it. You can take them out. And I just want to say mazel tov. Okay?
Next, we invite Wendy Carrier, representing our board of directors, to share some gifts on behalf of our congregation.
Thank you. Grant, on behalf of the Board of Directors of Congregation Beth Israel, I want to wish you mazel tov on becoming a bar mitzvah at our 101-year-old historic congregation. We are so proud of you, and I especially want to welcome you as an adult member of our Jewish community. I personally want to extend my feelings of absolute joy in being able to be up here with you today and with your family who's here and online. The Facebook or FaceTime Aliyah was exceptional. I've never seen that before, but it's really wonderful. And you've worked really hard, and today it showed. Rabbi Mason Barkin said you didn't have to be perfect, but this was perfect today. Really, really knocked it out of the park, so congratulations. I have a bunch of gifts from the community, and I have some notes because there's a lot. Let's see here. So in this envelope, we have your bar mitzvah certificate as well as gift certificates you can use towards Camp Stein and the Big Trip Summer in Israel. A tree was planted in your name in the Jewish National Fund's Forest in Israel. We have also started a philanthropy fund for you at the Jewish Community Foundation's B'nai Tzedek Fund. I believe this is a Kiddush cup. Let's show it, it's kind of pretty. So when you do Kiddush on Friday nights, you can remember your bar mitzvah. And lastly, this is really cool. I know you've seen this, but it's a replica Torah, and it's actually turned to Grant's Torah portion. So every year on February 12th, need to chant that. I'm just kidding. Again, mazel tov to you and your family here and online. You did a great job today. Congratulations, mazel tov.
Thank you, Wendy. Now, Grant, I know he's ready to do it again. Gotta wait till next year. Grant, beautiful job. You get to relax for a minute and have a seat, but I'm gonna ask everyone to stand. Let's all stand as we turn to Aleinu, page 586, or 590, wait, I think it's 586, yeah.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. I got a smile out of you. Yeah, there he is.
This kid is the happiest kid.
I
He's got
know.
like a whole bag full of
love
snacks down there. There's mums, there's goldfish. Can I have some snacks? They don't let me eat during the service. So it is always good to have reminders of joy here in our space, and babies always do that, especially because one of the reasons that we come into this space is not only for times of joy, but for times of sadness, sometimes times of memory. And so at this point in our service, we remember those who have died in recent days, and we remember those who have died at this time in years past. We remember the generations of Grant's family who we know would be just quelling, just bursting with joy to be here today. And we know that they are with us in spirit and in soul. We are also remembering today Sylvia Post and Grace Fink. If there's anyone else that you are remembering today, someone who is just top of mind because of the occasion, or someone who has died at this time in years past or in recent days, I invite you to share their names out loud. Let's turn to page 598 or 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon u'vyomechon u'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, b'agalau v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabba m'varach le'olam u'lamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei d'Kedoshah b'richu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, Damiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who are in mourning, and comfort to all who are bereaved as we say together, Amen.
Let's join together in a prayer for peace. Oseh shalom as we prepare to have Kiddush and Motzi here on the Bima. Oseh shalom b'mromav u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Shalom.
Now, before we conclude, Grant is going to lead us in Kiddush and Motzi. And Grant, I feel like this is so emblematic of you, is that you can't actually enjoy this. You've got your own special stuff. However, you're going to bless this on behalf of the rest of us. So thank you for that. That is very selfless and beautiful of you. Let's start with Kiddush. I'll do the drinking. You do the blessing, okay?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
L'chaim. You don't even have to fake it. I'll do it for you. All right, go ahead with the challah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
B'tei Avon, thank you so much.
Shabbat
I appreciate
Shalom.
that. Shabbat Shalom.
Everyone.
And Mazel Tov.
Mazel Tov, and we're joining together in the courtyard. Okay, see you there.
You did it.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat.